back, listeners of the Hero Whispers. Welcome to our podcast this evening. This is Jeannie Marie, your host of the Hero Whispers and founder of SuperGirlls, a platform created to inspire and empower young college women to launch from college to life. What does that mean? Helping these young women as they embrace the transition into the real world, helping them navigate with tools like career, networking, mentoring, money management, whatever they need, helping them, providing a sisterhood, providing a community to support them because they are the future. Tonight, I am super thrilled to have back, by popular demand, Alexandra BUCKLEY. Alex, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Oh my God. We had to have Alex back because Alex was on the show a few weeks ago and she was in the middle of transitioning herself in her job search, transitioning to the real world from college and all that. She recently graduated and we had to have her back to finish the story because she has a huge success story that we're going to share with you. But in the meantime, I'm just going to remind everyone a little bit about Alexandra, who she is, and then we'll tell her story. Does that sound good, Alex?
That sounds perfect.
Awesome. Okay. So Alex is a recent graduate of the Rochester Institute of Technology with a degree in communication and a minor in business. She is actually now working in the medical device sales field in upstate New York in her hometown of Rochester. And we met on one of her journeys when she was writing her thesis for her major. And she was doing a lot of research on Facebook because she's really smart and she knows that there are a lot of communities and a lot of people that she could get information from, AKA parents of college students, on Facebook, because we definitely hang out there to try and deal with the fact that our children are in college. My son is in college. And Alex was reaching out for some help, and we connected and we bonded, and I had to have her on the show because she's so amazing, so much energy, so much to share with the world. So that's how we met. And now we have her back because we got to hear how she made it all happen. So welcome back to the podcast channel.
Thank you.
So glad you're
I wish
back.
everyone could see my face because I'm smiling with your amazing introduction.
You are amazing. And oh, by the way, she's super beautiful as well. If you see, wait till you Google her picture on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you.
All right. So let's talk about your amazing new position. I don't know, how long have you been there now? A few weeks, a month?
I'm on my 1 month mark.
Awesome. Congrats.
1 month in. Thank you.
And I know you're working really hard, a lot of hours.
Yes, it has been pretty crazy. As you know, on the back end, trying to coordinate anything in my personal life has been next to impossible because I've been pretty dedicated to work for the past few weeks.
Which is awesome because you're going to be a star. So let's share with listeners from where you were, because I know the last time we talked, you were like interviewing, I think, for this role. So let's hear about that. Let's hear about how that got started, how you got to that point, and then how it all went down, sister. Let's hear it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So we touched on this a little bit before and in personal conversations together, but when I graduated, it was kind of just a deer in headlights look. What am I doing? What's going to happen next? What do I even do to kind of start this next process? So I knew I had a big interest in medical device sales, but I didn't really know where I was going to start, how I was going to make that happen. I have a few connections in the field, but it's kind of a weird space to be in, asking people for help, you know, being like, hey, we know each other outside of work. I want to do this. Can you get me a job? Can you help me? So I was definitely a little shy about asking for help and support, but I started to get advice. A few conversations even with you were so helpful, just in being confident, how to approach interviews, how to even take a step back from interviewing and just reach out to people for informational interviews to get to know more about what their job was like, what they were doing, what the opportunities in the field looked like. So I kind of took a step back and was like, okay, I'm going to put my feelers out and just see what's out there first. And then maybe something from there will kind of grow from an informational interview to something greater. And actually, one of my cousins has been in the field for many years, and I'd reached out to him and his wife multiple times to figure out, you know, what it was they did, how someone would get into this line of work coming from college. And I did this a couple times throughout college. So it kind of just felt natural to start with them, reach out, hey, I graduated. I know there's not really any positions on your team, but what advice can you give me? So I did that, and it went great. We had a great conversation, but then it didn't really go anywhere from there. And I kind of think in the back of my head, I thought connections would lead me right through and I wouldn't have to do much. But so then when that didn't take off, I was like, okay, so it's actually going to take a little bit more work than one interview. So I started just reaching out to anyone who I knew in the field, whether it was a family friend who was a doctor and dealt with reps, or it was someone who, you know, works, one of my best friend's twin brothers. He lives out in California doing, you know, the Da Vinci robot. Not what I want to do, but I called him to pick his brain, see where he'd gone. And that kind of spun off into all these other informational interviews. So although they weren't job interviews, they ended up being super insightful and ultimately lended to opportunities, you know, job opportunities after keeping in touch and kind of poking and prodding. So after weeks and weeks of that craziness and trying to get my ducks in a row and just talk to as many people as I could, I got a call back from the one company who had kind of had my eye on for the longest. And they were like, hey, a spot opened up. Can you come back in to talk? And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think anyone was going to call. So I was like, here we go. I went back, I prepared, I studied for what felt like hours and hours just to, you know, put my best foot forward. And I got that second interview, and here we are. We'll get into the interview specifics later, but it was not, you know, a perfect story. It was kind of funny to look back on how the interview went, but ultimately it was successful and I got the job.
I'm so proud of you. That is so amazing.
Thank you.
It is a rocky road. I mean, it's not a slam dunk. Like it's definitely, and the more stories I hear, the more I hear the same theme. It's where it takes so many different, there's not one way, like, let's put it that way. Like, it's definitely
Right.
random. And
Totally.
what you did is classic success story, you know, that I keep hearing. Networking, finding people, anybody. So, like, you know, a lot of people in college think that they don't have a network. You know, all they have is a career center or whatever. But the truth is, your network is what you said. It's your family. It's your friends. It's your, the people you know in college. And those people, it's amplified. It's like social media. It's like everybody. Like, and then somebody knows somebody else, and somebody knows somebody else, wherever. And then it just, like, it's a big web. And then that's exactly how it went down for you.
Right. And I think that term networking is something that resonates with me, because I remember, you know, towards my senior year, everyone's saying, you got to network. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, am I just going to walk into a coffee shop and, you know, walk up to someone in a suit and be like, hey, my name's Alexandra. I'd love to talk to you about what you do. Like, to me, it was just such an uncomfortable and awkward thing. And it wasn't until I kind of, you know, I think the first step for me that pushed me to be more comfortable is I had actually my old boss reach out to me and say, hey, I put in a word with John, who's a family friend who's a doctor. She was like, I asked him if there's anything he can do to help. And I was like, wow, that's so nice. Thanks. And I was like, super nervous. I'm like, oh gosh, is John going to call me on the phone? Like, what am I going to say to John? And after that first conversation with John, he called, hey, what are you doing? Like, how is school? What are your interests? And it was such a comfortable conversation where they just want to know about you. They want to know about your interests. They want to know about what you're looking for. So it's a lot about what you want and where you want to go, which is an easy thing to talk about if you just put a little thought into what exactly your vision is. So the idea of networking became a lot more comfortable, because I think, like you said, it's everyone says, oh, you got to network, but until you really start to do it, it's kind of like this foreign term, like, oh gosh, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, it's a big mystery. And a lot of people think networking is like you said, like, we're walking up to somebody and asking if they have a job. No, that's not what that's not what it is. I mean, people, it just doesn't work that way. You gotta like work these people, like and like make it about them. And so,
but you'll be surprised. Like you kind of can go into it looking for answers from them to help guide you, but at the same time they want to know a lot about you, so it works both ways. Like they're going to be interested in you, who you are, what your strengths are, what you want to pursue in life, and at the same time you use them. Like they're usually someone who's more experienced or older, who has some experience in life that you are looking to learn more about, and they're happy, once you get that informational interview or just that conversation over coffee, they're happy to sit there, a lot more happy to sit there than you think they are, to spill their guts and help you in any way they can.
No, you know what? That's so true. People don't realize that other people want to give back and help, like more than ever, because they were in that same spot. Right. And the people that don't want to help, you don't want to be with them. You don't want to deal with them anyway, because it's just bad energy. Right. You have to find the people, and you seem to have that trait. I mean, look what you did your thesis, all those people you found on Facebook, and people were like happy to help you because you're a sunshine,
That's coming from you, who I think is one of the biggest giver backers. I don't even think that's English, but you truly are. And I've learned that in such a short time. I mean, after my first phone call with you, you were like, what can I do? How can I help you? And I think the platform you're creating and the energy you're giving off has, in the short time that I've known you, been so encouraging and supportive and motivating to me. And it's that kind of energy that I think people need to be more, look for more, be more aggressive to look for, and to be that light and be that person, because it has been so awesome to grow my network with people who want to give back.
Thank you so much. I didn't even pay you to say that.
No, you didn't. It's just truly how I feel. You didn't have to.
It's from the heart, man. I have to do a talk next week, and I wish you were going to be in New York, because I'd love to have you come and talk about your experience like live, and give these girls the advice, because they're girls that are actually in college, but you're kind of far from New York City, right?
I'm like 5-6 hours, but I could make the drive. We can make it happen.
Well, maybe what we could do is we could talk about this more offline, but maybe we could talk about doing something at Rochester together, at Rochester.
Totally. It would be awesome.
That would be super cool. Okay, back to you. Back to Alex. I have to talk to you. I have to ask you about the position and how how did you decide that you were interested in this field? And is the position like what you thought it was going to be? Does it fall short of your expectations? Let's talk a little bit about that.
It's funny, because this is actually a question that has been coming up at work, is what did I expect the job to be like? Am I satisfied? Did it meet my expectations? What's going on? First month in, it is like being in medical device sales. It's like drinking from a fire hose. There's no good way to fully prepare. And every day is crazy. So I checked in with my boss the other day, and he was like, so, like, what do you think? And I think that's a really tough question to answer, because it is so much crazier than I could have ever prepared for. And I knew it was going to be crazy, but it's even crazier. But I don't think that my expectations match, only because I had no clue what I was getting myself into. But to sum it up nicely, my mom has family, and some of our family staying with us this week, and someone asked, like, what are you doing? How's it going? And I was like, I'm slightly dying. I'm drowning a little bit, but I freaking love what I'm doing. So, like, it's an okay drowning. Like, I'm surviving. And that's only because it's information overload. There's no way to plan properly for any day. It is just being prepared for the unexpected, being able to handle whatever comes your way. But I think the one thing that's made me be able to wake up and do it again every day